Just started recording. Welcome. We're just waiting for a few more people, and then we'll go ahead. How are you, Dr. Jeeva? You're still on mute. You're on mute.
See if you can unmute him.
I'm going to try. If everybody else can just unmute, then just mute yourself, please. Just so it makes the recording easier. Dr. J, you're unmuted now.
Yeah, do we have Yusuf Rawat there?
He's just come in now.
And Safwan?
I'm looking.
And Nandla, how do you say that? N-A-H-L-A-N, Nandla. She there?
Safwan is there.
Yeah. Okay. Just getting everybody else in. So welcome to our ADHD Support Group meeting, second Wednesday of every month, and we are going to be talking about ADHD and careers with our famous Dr. Jeeva.
Hi, our soldiers, are they in?
Let's just get another 1 minute or two so we can make sure people are still coming in, Dr. J.
Yeah, no problem. Give them 5 minutes.
Cool. I see you in the Bahamas again.
Okay, you want me to go to New York? All right. Huh? Is that better?
Yes, that's something different tonight.
All right. No problem. In San Francisco, you can see the Golden Gate Bridge. So what's the next topic next month?
I think it's ADHD and relationships.
Oh, that's very good.
Yes, I think that's going to be very interesting.
Our two coaches there, they should be presenting next month.
I think that's a good idea.
Yes.
Mary and Anita, how about
Do that.
few
I
minutes,
love to.
guys?
I can do it.
No problem. Dr. J can do the first half hour. I'll do the others.
Yeah. No problem. You and Anita can share. So we give
I
you
think so.
15 minutes each. We 15 minutes, Stacy 15 minutes, you 15, and then it's finished.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's good because we can talk from different perspectives. Samaya can talk about ADHD relationships she's had. So she's not ADHD, but Shweb was ADHD. Anita's ADHD and her husband isn't. So I think it's also been difficult. I'm ADHD and I'm a pain in the ass. And
Are those other people in? Did they come?
yeah, they're coming.
No, our three people, Yusuf Rawat, Safwan, and Nandla.
I think only Yusuf Rawat's not here yet.
Okay. So there's still people in the waiting room. We're trying to let them in now.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So this is a really, really interesting topic we're talking about tonight because it affects all of us as adults. So Dr. J, I think we can even start. Welcome everybody to our ADHD Support Group meeting. It's really good to see you all. And yeah, tonight's going to be very interesting. We're talking about ADHD and careers, a follow-on from last week. And Dr. Jeeva is going to be leading the conversation tonight. So welcome, Dr. Jeeva, and thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. This is a part 2 of what we started the last time. We had at work the problems and what to do about it. But today we're going to talk about ADHD careers. And the other thing is that we've got it in 4 parts or 3 parts. The first part, we're going to have 3 people who ADHD people or patients who will talk about their possible difficulties in looking out for a career. And then we're going to get Dr. Hallowell's group to talk a little bit about how they see careers and the difficulty they have and what to do about it. And lastly, then I have a list of 8 careers that suppose it's called 8 dream jobs for adults with ADHD. So if you later on want a copy of that, I'll give it to Tracy, and whoever wants it can get it from her. So that's how we'll do it. So our 3 people that are coming in, who's in there at the moment?
Okay, so who are you expecting tonight to talk, Dr. J?
Yusuf Robert, Safwan, and Nahla.
So Safwan is here.
So let's ask him. Let's start with him. He must tell us how hard it was in deciding to have decided on a choice of a career.
Welcome, Safwan. If we can hand it over to you.
Thanks.
You can
It was
it'd be good to see your face.
okay, fine.
Mhm.
Just a second. Yeah, can you see me now?
Yes, welcome.
So yeah, it wasn't that difficult for me to find a career. I grew up in a business family, and my dad actually forced me to work for him on weekends. So I just kind of developed a natural talent for business and a natural love for business. So that's what I knew I wanted to do from as long as I can remember.
And what exactly is that?
Well, he had a fabric store, so I used to work there on the weekends. I was like 10, I think, and then I used to stand behind the till. That's where I started. And then I just eventually, I think like by the age of 12 or 13, my brother and I could run the entire place. So sometimes we would go in the morning and open it up ourselves, and parents would come like to work at like, if you open at 9, they'd come like an hour later. And we'd open up, and then we thought, it's funny because we thought we were like grown-ups. When I think of it now, we were actually quite young. We were doing it. And yeah, that's just where we started.
And at any stage, did you get bored and you think you want to do something else?
No, I did think. Well, when I was in school, I knew I wanted to be in business, and I knew that my father didn't only have one business. I mean, eventually, he grew into like 3, 4, 5 businesses at one stage, and my plan was that I would use the retail business and then springboard into various other businesses and have a share in this and have a share in that, or, you know, be a part of many things. Actually, I had like a whole list of things in school that I said, it's my group of companies, you know, and I'll have like all of these companies when I finish school, I'll start a conglomerate sort of thing.
Okay, so you had it rather easy. You didn't have too many choices to make, but they made the choice for you. And they say in ADHD, in a career or in any studies, even if it's the wrong career you chose, but once you made up your mind, the anxiety goes fully down and you can still focus on it. So the idea is not to have gap years and those things before a career. Rather, we have to encourage you to decide what could be suitable for you. But we'll see from the other people we're going to talk about what difficulty they had. So who else is there? Tracy, is Yusuf Rawat there?
Looking now.
No.
Nope.
I see Jaco is there. He wanted to speak from the last time. He didn't get enough time. You want to unmute Jaco?
Where are you?
I can see his face on the right-hand side with the
Yes, here
glasses.
we go. Yaku. So I can also talk from my experiences that I was in the motor industry for 17 years, and it really was an industry that I did very well in my industry. I was a marketing director, then a sales director, but it still didn't keep my interest. And then I left the industry and I became what I'm doing now, and it really serves me well. And a lot of my coaches are ADHD or because we have variety, we have different challenges, we're stimulated. And I think one of the biggest things is we can work very well when we're stimulated. If we're not stimulated, the problem comes in. So with a new client all the time, we have new problems, new challenges, new solutions, and we're making a difference. It's meaningful. So I think those are really important ingredients in doing what we do to keep our attention where it should be.
If I can just add, Trace and Dr. Jeeva, may I
Please,
speak a little bit? I won't be long.
No, you can talk as much as you want. Don't worry.
So just from, when Tracy was chatting, it also reminded me of, for me, I was in the fashion industry, and it sounds all exciting and wonderful because I thought I was I wanted to study fashion. I thought I was going to be this amazing fashion designer, and that was my dream, to be this fabulous designer. And then, so I did my course, and I did very well in the course because it was exciting and there were fashion shows and I loved it. It was creative. But then I got into the workplace, like the fashion industry, and it was just, there was so much admin, spreadsheets. It was like probably 75% admin, and the rest, there was just this little percentage of creativity. So for 12 years, I really, really struggled until I hit breaking point, burnout. So I was over medicating and I was trying to fit into this mold. And I had so many problems, like with my bosses and managers. And I kept on job hopping. So I would stay in the same career and industry as a buyer, but I would get so frustrated and so I just wanted to break out of it. So eventually it all accumulated to having a breakdown. And that's how I found Tracy. And she's put me in this direction. And it's like, I'm the most happiest when I'm coaching. I don't even need to take my medication. I only have to take my medication when I have to do paperwork. And that's like very, very seldom.
Why, Lita? What is it that's made you so interested and focused?
So it's definitely the variety, and it's so interesting. For me, I'm fascinated with psychology. I'm fascinated with how people's brains work. I'm fascinated with, so that really lights up my brain. To figure out how someone else thinks and just work in their lives. I think it's just really, really interesting. So that's just an interest that I have. So definitely the variety, different people, seeing different clients. Also, like, I think with ADHD, we love to talk. So it's perfect because we talk all day. So it's great. We really like that kind of attention, and and it's not a bad thing. It's not as if to say like it's all about me and I just want, it's just, I think ADHD people, we don't belong in a box. It's very hard to fit into a mold, and I was expected to sit at my desk, follow certain procedures, file these things, and it just didn't serve me. So yeah, this is really a good career for, if you are interested in psychology and people and dynamics, coaching is, I can say, it's really, really stimulates my ADHD brain.
So Oliver's got his hand up. Can we ask Oliver, Dr. J?
Yeah, I go ahead.
Oliver?
Hi.
That's what? Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Cool.
Okay, cool. So basically, when I first got started, I went to school, followed my dad's plan, and he said, go and study, and I needed to go to university. And I ended up going to university by just like, you need so many points, and I had like 1 point extra, and I got in. And then on top of it, it was at Rau, so everything was in Afrikaans, maths was in Afrikaans. Imagine doing the vierkantswortel of a maths thing, I didn't even understand that. And but I went down to Technikon and I studied there, and then I went to go work for my dad. And being in family business, you know, we're very domineering, or ODD, or we like it our way, you know. And so my dad's like, you know, he made it cushy. And when I decided to leave, he said, because I wanted to be in the corporate world. And I thought, I had this crazy idea that the corporate world was going to be great, maybe like I don't know, like a dream kind of thing, you know. And I worked for a couple of companies, Transnet, in internal audit, and then we got retrenched. So when we got retrenched, what happened was I didn't know what I was going to do. And so that was when I got into depression. I got into, it was just very, very emotional. But luckily, I found out then that I was ADD. And at that age, I decided, you know, I didn't know nothing about ADD. And when I started with it, it was like everything started getting better. You know, started taking the medication, things started making sense. My desk wasn't always in a mess, you know. I didn't miss things. I was always late. Paperwork is just a nightmare. Spreadsheet is just crazy, just to get all those numbers in there. And with the medication now, I've been more organized. My emails are organized. I've got like little labels on certain ones, and I file them every day. So those kind of things, those habits, I had to teach myself. And I think the medication just made me focus enough. Sorry, guys. So that was, it's quite emotional. So
Well done,
thank you so much.
Oliver. Thank you.
I saw Ntlantla there. She's there somewhere.
Yeah, she is.
Can you just bring her on?
There we go. Welcome.
I can't see her, but she was there a few minutes ago.
No, she's here. Thank you for joining us. Hi. Your turn to shine.
Sorry, I think my connection's a bit slow, but yeah, I'm Tlansha. I'm a bit new to all of this stuff, but yeah, in terms of career things for me, I'm still a student right now. I'm doing my honors, but I did have that thing where I was kind of all over the place. So after high school, when I was choosing where to go for university, like I have this problem where I get super interested in everything and I want to do everything at the same time. And I was literally considering everything. And eventually I went into medical science, simply because it was a very broad field. And I could see that afterwards I had like a lot of different options to choose from. And that appealed for me because it appealed to me because I didn't want to be stuck in something where there was only one route to go. I knew that I would probably hate that. I wanted to be able to have variety. So I really enjoyed that. And whilst I was doing that, I decided, no, I'm super interested in genetics. I decided that in my second year. And then by third year, I was super bored of genetics. And I was like, I'm never going into that. It's terrible. And now I did quite a switch because now my honors is in bioinformatics. So instead of like biology subjects and stuff like that, I'm focusing on coding and statistics and stuff like that, which has been really cool because it's all completely new stuff and it's very interesting and I love it. And now looking at next year, I feel like I want to switch again and I want to do like a master's in data science because I think I'm just going to get bored of bioinformatics already at some point. And I remember at some point I wanted to go into research, and then this year taught me that research really isn't going to work for me because you kind of have very vague deadlines that you have to set for yourself. Like it's not very structured at all, and your goals happen over a very long time. The work can be quite slow, so it doesn't really feel like you're doing anything for long periods of time. And that doesn't really work for me because I start feeling very unmotivated, and that's part of my problem this year, where deadlines and everything just seem so abstract because there literally are no deadlines. So I think I've decided to move away from research and go into something more goal oriented. I think that would probably help me. So I'm still trying to figure everything out, but I have had a lot of switches in what I think I'm gonna do. But I think I'll eventually find something that I really want to do because I'm just interested in so many things. Not too stressed.
That's interesting. When you're diagnosing adult ADHD for the first time, a new patient, there's two clues. When they switch so much, that's a clue, it's a red light. And the other thing, if they've taken 5 years to do a 3-year degree, then you got to look at it. What's happening here? I mean, some of the degrees are not so tough. You should be able to finish it on time. So something distracted them. Was it the social life? What was happening? Because 40% of the first year dropouts are ADHD adult, and the university is not aware of it, nor are the people who give the bursaries. So switching a lot is the sort of semi-diagnostic, and taking too long to finish a very basic degree. And lastly, being aware that it's quite common in first year dropouts. Okay, thanks a lot. Is that other guy there? Did he come? Safwan, I mean, Yusuf Robert.
Rawat's not here yet.
Yeah, okay, so let's go on because we've got to cover quite a few things. And I've got something to show you guys. So let's do screen sharing. Oh, you've got to enable me to screen share.
I'm going to enable you completely, Dr. J. It's going on there now. Say advanced sharing options. There we go. There we go.
This is Dr. Hallowell's group, Dr. Hallowell's gang.
For someone with ADHD. First question, though, I want to ask is the right job a big deal?
Can you guys see?
Yes, all good, thank you.
Okay, this guy is a comedian, and his ADHD is Canadian, and he makes all these movies. His surname is Green. He's quite a funny guy, but he doesn't look like that every day.
Yes, Linda.
I think everybody's got something to bring to the world. And because you're stuck with the idea that you can't, and you're stuck with all these challenges, you never get a chance to really tap into your true potential, your true strength. And they can't tap into it because they're so busy just trying to survive every single day of their lives at work.
Trying to survive, right.
People with ADHD have faced so much adversity, especially as adults, as mature adults. And in the wrong job, we can be totally depleted.
Maybe burned out. But our research shows that young people are struggling even before they get a job.
We put tremendous pressure on our young adults to make major career decisions that cost thousands and thousands of dollars and years of their time and effort at such a young age. And the general population struggles with that. The ADHD population really struggles with that.
Exactly. Did everyone hear that? So Wilma, let's wrap this up so we can have cocktails. What is the best job for someone with ADHD?
I love that question. People will come in and say, I hope this won't take very long. I have ADHD, and I need that list. The list of ADD-friendly jobs, and I'll pick one, and I'll be gone. But it's really not at all that simple. We're very complex beings. We're made up of hundreds of puzzle pieces. And if you just take the list of ADD symptoms, if you took 15 of those people and put them in a room, chances are none of the 15 would be exactly the same. They would all have pieces of different symptoms and to varying degrees.
ADHD is very individual. Combined subtype, purely inattentive subtype.
The combinations of those symptoms and to the varying degrees that you have them result in somebody having a very different skill set and challenge set than someone else. Both ADD people, perhaps both in the same career field, and they operate totally differently.
So the right job for you depends on you and where you struggle and where you soar. My mom said, if you love what you do for a living, you'll never have to work a day in your life.
Your mother was way ahead of her time then.
She ran a brothel. Ned, you have something.
Really, the key to treating adults is to marry the right person and find the right job. And adults with ADD, key to treating adult ADD.
This is Dr. Hallowell, the boss.
Is to marry the right person and find the right job. The key to treating adult ADD is to marry the right person and find the right job. And adults with ADD often make the same mistake in both domains. They marry and work for someone who is controlling, demeaning, picking, and someone who doesn't really like them all that much because they got the idea around about fifth grade that that's what they needed, that they were a hopeless case. So they had to be ridden herd on. They had to be controlled. They had to be demeaned and put down.
So where are ADHD adults working now? Come on, people. You're on the front lines.
So there are many professions that are obviously ADHD friendly.
This is Gabrielle Weiss. She's a famous Canadian child psychiatrist, a great author, speaker, and writer.
I see everybody. I see workers. I see tradesmen.
That are obviously ADHD friendly.
You're on the front lines.
So there are many professions that are obviously ADHD friendly.
I see everybody. I see workers. I see tradesmen. I see professionals. No, I think it's all types of life.
Well, as every adult with ADHD will tell you, there are some careers that are ADHD friendly.
So, suggestions, fields where restlessness and hyperactivity are okay.
It's actually ADHD friendly to be a child psychiatrist of ADHD kids. I ran around like a maniac all day, and I'm very happy.
If somebody happened to have ADHD and they had my job, it would be perfectly suited. I'm never in the same place for more than 45 minutes. I am managing lots of different projects at the same time. I have an executive assistant to help with things that might make somebody else disorganized. So one can learn to use them to their advantage.
Okay, ADHD specialist is a good fit. Other suggestions?
My son is a high school teacher, and he loves it because he can be up and about. He can be animated. He can use his energy. He can use his creativity. He can be at the front of the room, the back of the room, sitting, standing, and for him, that's perfect.
People with ADD focus in a crisis. They're calm, cool, and collected in a crisis. So they'll often seek dangerous jobs or high stim jobs like a trial attorney,
Racing a motorcycle,
race car driver,
taming wild horses,
entrepreneur,
running a bungee jumping operation,
brain surgeon,
an emergency room physician,
trader on the commodities exchange,
a stockbroker is in a crazy, overstimulating environment, taking constant risks that would make anybody else think twice with someone else's money. It's perfect.
Look at the symptoms of ADHD: interrupts, intrudes, overly talkative, motor mouth. Yes.
I actually remember a 7-year-old who I said, "What are you going to be when you grow up?" And he said, "A radio announcer." And I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "Because it would be so wonderful if people could just press a button and turn me on and turn me off." But there are other careers where you're always on the move, always on the go, and always talking, always chatting. And that makes all the difference.
Let's break for lunch, people. We've been at this almost 3 minutes.
So hyperverbalization, always talking, especially in the girls type who are inattentive, is diagnostic of the symptom of hyperactivity. So talking too much is a significant important symptom. If the parents say, "Oh, the child's not moving around, but she talks all day," that the tongue is moving, the tongue is active. So that's the same as moving your legs in boys. Okay. Jobs we're supposed to avoid.
To sort of be up at 6:30, be in your car at 7:40, 7:15, clock in at work at 8 o'clock, coffee break, all day long. That's the problem.
Repetitive work is very difficult for people with ADHD. Their mind will start to wander off and they'll lose focus.
That's Anthony Rothstein. He's also a very famous child psychiatry professor. near Philadelphia. He's very famous in all the annual meetings.
With ADHD, their mind will start to wander off and they'll lose focus.
If people with ADHD could live on the farm and get up with the crows and go to sleep with the cows, they'd be much better off. They wouldn't have that regimentation. But that's an attribute of our society. And the challenge then is, obey the rules of society in order to fit in.
The joke was always that the worst job for somebody with ADHD would be to work in the motor vehicles department, processing papers, or in a bank, or being a toll collector or whatever, because it's so boring. And
I think having the worst kind of job I can think of would be working at a call center, where you're kind of stuck in a chair and you have to respond to people and you have to be civil and have to be nice all the time.
Unless you love being helpful. There's no one list of ADHD friendly jobs or ADHD unfriendly jobs.
Traditionally, people have steered ADD individuals away from certain jobs, like accounting and like anything that requires them to sit for long periods of time. The truth is that your set of symptoms may be such that you are a hyper-focuser.
so if you have a job where you can stay hyper-focused on the project and you don't need to be shifting sets often, that's great. But you're going to do poorly on the tests, on the neuropsychological tests that we use that measure the ability to shift sets.
And if you are, you could still be very ADD, but you don't have the hyperactivity component. And you might make a wonderful accountant. You might make a wonderful researcher.
So I love that people can find goodness of fit with who they are and what they're doing.
So the myth is that there is a list of good things and a list of bad things, and it really is a myth. I could dispel each one of those. It really depends on what's driving you.
Forget accounting. I'll be a litigation lawyer, Your Honor.
Yes, there are careers that ADHD people are drawn to. Whether they're a good fit for it is a whole other thing.
So often they choose a career that looks bright, sparkly to them, but they don't think about, is that bright, sparkly ability to learn new things and be challenged, how long is that going to last in that career?
Sometimes we don't know really what the tasks are of a particular career because there's so many attorney shows. People think that it's like what's on TV, and it's ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And if I'm a good presenter, or I'm a good orator, or I talk well with people, I'm going to be a great attorney. And truthfully, if you look at the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, which is online, it breaks down jobs into tasks and gives what they call the essential tasks of each job. And you would find that law is 75% data. And so people think they're attracted to a particular field that doesn't necessarily line up with what they're all about.
So many people end up staying in a job 6 months, 9 months, 16 months, and they're done. And they'll make up some reason to quit. And what they don't understand is they're bored. They've learned everything there and they're done. And they can't bear to stay. I personally did that for several jobs. I was underemployed and I would take a job. Oh, that looks easy and fun to learn that industry. But about 16 months, get me out of here, get me out of here.
So as a rule, we prefer variety, fresh challenges, clear tasks, and short deadlines. And then there are the exceptions to the rule.
But I have a client who's a lawyer who deals with the most complicated and involved legal cases that go on for years as well. So
I don't understand why cooking is often ADHD friendly. It's everything that ADHD people should hate. It's boring. It requires time management, requires following a recipe. And I asked somebody who was a cook, and he said, I have been a tremendous success because I'm the man who invented putting flowers on food.
Doesn't float my boat, but to each his or her own. Doesn't float my boat, but
man who invented putting flowers on food.
So Jamie Oliver is ADHD. He's worth $200 million. I don't know what does it say for ADHD.
Doesn't float my boat, but To each his or her own. The right job for you depends on two things, the job and you. But what if you love your job and then your job?
Okay, let's go on to the next one. What happens if your job turns bad?
I had a patient who was 65 and 6 months away from getting her pension at the bank. She was a customer service agent and she had the highest ratings of any employee because people walked in with complaints and she chatted them up and they walked out not even knowing why they come in. And then she was downsized to be a teller, count money quietly in a distracting environment with no communication whatsoever and reconcile her accounts at 4 o'clock. And it was a disaster. And she didn't think she could make the 6 months.
With ADHD, a promotion or even a small change can make a huge difference one way or the other. Usually,
a guy likes to program, right? I really like the internet, program, and they go through and they get out there and all of a sudden they're like on probation. They don't really know what's going on. Well, they're in a cubicle programming up by themselves. They liked it when they were with other people. That was the environment. Now they're in a closet all by themselves and they're bored out of their mind. Same thing, it's a different environment.
Okay, so these are certain different aspects. Let's just go to something
When a realization,
It's going to happen.
other people's way.
Sorry.
Identify. They will achieve amazing things.
the best question to ask,
What comes easy to you?
for example, I can write comedy skits till the cows come home. And since we don't own cows, I've been writing steadily comedy skits for 40 years. Easy.
If you're really, really, really good at something, if it comes so easy for you, you think everybody can do it.
I figured everyone can write comedy skits. I mean, can't they?
Oh, no. You don't realize we're hitting gifts right now because literally you discount it because it comes so easy for yourself.
Another transformational question, if you didn't have to work, how would you fill your days? I mean, I wrote comedy skits and made funny movies with my friends long before I made a living at it.
So try to think for yourself, what really will give me fulfillment? You know, where do I really want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years? And don't give into these knee-jerk, you know, rich and famous, all this sort of get on the cover of People magazine. We live in a star culture that tends to superficialize our deepest desires, and don't let that happen to you. Think with another person, and you can't decide this in 30 seconds. It's not a soundbite question, what matters most to you. Think deeply. People don't do that enough. Think deeply in connection with another person, people, group.
So that was Dr. Hallowell. Let's show you another one.
Way cheaper than
Major career decisions that cost thousands and thousands of dollars and years of their time and effort at such a young age.
I know so many people who've earned a degree in something they don't really love, and now their college fund is gone and they're 30 grand in debt and doing something they don't love to pay it off.
The general population struggles with that. The ADHD population really struggles with that. They're not often ready to make that leap. The message they give themselves is maybe there's nothing for me because everybody else seems to know what they want to do. And I sure don't.
How many ADHD teens pick a college or university course simply because it's the one course that they got the best marks at high school? Well, at least one. I took physics at university because it was my best mark. And that was because Mr. Pickering was my best teacher.
Most people don't know what they want to do. It's a very small population that really knows, let's say out of high school, what they want to do in their life. They might know they want to go to college, but beyond that, it's a very small population that's driven to a particular career.
I think we overemphasize everybody needs to go to college and get a liberal arts degree instead of
gee, what maybe it would be good for you to learn a trade or something that is valued and will get you a good income, but maybe doesn't require a 4-year liberal arts degree.
As I often tell someone who has a degree in liberal arts, yeah, I'll have the tall mocha frappuccino with the whipped cream and the chocolate shavings. Yeah, I know it's mean, but I love it.
Okay, maybe you do want to go to college, but what work do you want to do one day? You know, how will it bring your best self forward?
Remember, there's no rush. Do not blow your college fund training for a calling that doesn't call to you.
And if someone's really struggling, I do recommend that they take some time off and travel or work.
And parents, take off the pressure. Chill. There is no rush.
All right.
On a whole new of your work style and how to enhance and tap into your creativity to enhance your employer's bottom line.
Hey, boss, if I do more of this and let someone else do this stuff, I could make a ton more money for you. I know that may not excite you particularly, but trust me, the boss will be intrigued.
The boss will be intrigued. Okay, one last one, and then we're going to discuss something else.
Passion has to be natural. It has to be something that engages you. It has to be consistent, and it has to come from a place of the heart and the head in harmony.
You are meant to do what's easy, what's natural. I mean, look, cats aren't better than dogs, but it's going to be really frustrating to train a seeing eye cat. Frustrating for the trainer and the cat, and a waste of time for everybody.
You can't live a good life. You're not living the life that you really want to live. You don't feel effective. You don't feel like you're doing something meaningful and important.
So too many people are in their heads believing on what they should be doing. Passion is something that your head says, this is what ignites my heart on a consistent basis.
In my career, I've pursued the career that I wanted, not that I was told to want. And as a result, I've sort of cut a new path in the world of ADD, which to me is tremendously exciting. You've done the same thing. And as you, it has nothing to do with how wealthy I am. In fact, I'm not a wealthy man, but I'm very rich in spirit. And that matters a whole lot more.
And that's what I want for you, for your loved ones, for anyone and everyone. But to get the right job, you may have to let go of the wrong job, which requires courage, planning, patience. But as someone who loves what he does, I can tell you, it's worth it. Now we're
Okay, so we're going to switch a bit now. Yusuf, thanks for coming, but it's very late, so we'll skip that part. We'll give you a break. Let's change to something else now. So Tracy, what's the summary of what you just saw, all the things they were talking about? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's very interesting, Dr. Jeeva. I think the most important thing that I've learned in the coaching is that if you're stimulated, you're great. The problem is if you're not stimulated, and do what you're good at. A lot of us try and do things that we're good at, but also that we're not good at. And then we spend our attention. So I'm great at the coaching and motivating and encouraging, but my paperwork is terrible. My marketing strategies is terrible. And I know now I need to put somebody else who can do that for me. So I don't spend my energy on doing things I'm not good at. I rather spend my time on energy on things I am good at. And I think a lot of the times that we think we have these skills, we need to be good at everything. No, we don't. As ADHD, let's use the things that actually stimulate us and make us better. And then we can get other people can do the things that we're not good at. That will just make it easier for us as we get on and to succeed.
Yeah, so that's what Dr. Hallowell says. He talks about the strength-based treatment. So when your kids, the parents are complaining about this, and we as doctors, we try to fix this and that, but we don't spend enough time to look at your strengths. But as you come to adolescents and adults, what are you good at? What do you like? Where do you want to go? And those are the things we have to work on. So if you're trying to lose weight and you can't lose weight for years, let that slip and do something else that you're good at. But if you're trying to make a lot of money and you just can't get it right, change it around and do something else. Don't break your head on something that's not going to go anywhere. Anyway, this is the last part of the session, and I want to involve all of you guys. It says that there are 8 dream jobs for adults with ADHD. And I'm going to tell you that afterwards, but I'd like, I think we got about 24 people or less there. So I want each one to guess one dream job. Let's see if they're awake. Anita, if they're awake, one dream job that's good for adult ADHD. Let's see how many are exactly what we got here. Can you try?
Paramedic.
Okay.
Coaching, ADHD coaching and teaching.
Okay, that's 2. You only allowed 1. Okay, but both are right. Other people, what are the jobs that are dream jobs for adult ADHD?
Programming.
Yeah, programming.
But it will have to be programming in a gaming environment or something way more exciting than basic back-end programming, if I might add that.
Okay, good.
Okay. Any more guesses?
Come on, guys. Just try. Give it a shot.
Maybe something artistic, something
Singer
where you can
from Adam. Adam says a singer. Cool, Adam.
Coaching small children sports.
Small children sports. Great. Designer, art direction, creative jobs. What else, guys? The high school teacher.
All right, so let's start. I'll read the list and we'll go through them. Why are they supposed to be so special? The number 1 on the list there, you can see, is the teacher. And the number 2, we'll go through each one individually. Well, teacher, Dr. Gabriel Weiss, she was talking about a child psychiatrist working with children. So children is the big part why teacher is a good job. The next one, I was a bit surprised. The second one is a journalist. Now, the everyday idea is the journalist is in the office and putting things together. But then if you look on TV and other things, the journalists go around and do various different things. So we'll explore that. Next is the food industry workers like chefs and that. And we did talk about Jamie Oliver and why. But Gabriel Weiss, Dr. Weiss thought that why is being a chef exciting, and she thought it's boring, but I don't think so. When I was in medical school, we used to cook and I used to put all sorts of things in, all sorts of spices, and it came out right, and I was finding it quite funny and enjoyable. Actually, I thought it was very easy. The next one is the beautician. So the first one is a teacher, the second one is a journalist, the third one is a food industry worker, meaning a chef, and we'll go through each one in a minute. And then next is a beautician. So beauty, hairstylists, manicurists, cosmetologists, all of them, they're on their feet all day. There are people walking in and out. They can get more customers and they talk all the time. And if you want the town's gossip, you know, you're going to go to the hairdresser, you'll get all the gossip of the town. So that's why I suppose hairdressers and it leaves very little time for boredom. The next is small business owner. Now, why small business owner? Because ADHD don't like to be bossed around. ADHD don't like to be told what to do. And ADHD people disrespect anybody that doesn't have enough authority and things, and they can't deal with authority. So in a small business, they own the business themselves. They can do what they like. They can buy and sell and be the boss and the manager and everything in one. And basically, they don't have to be under somebody. They just don't like to be taking orders and be under somebody. Anita, you were talking about emergency, the police officers, firefighters, and the guys, paramedics who do it at the hospital. Sure, why is that very exciting? Because first of all, they're going to do magic and save patients. Secondly, there's lots of, it's all fast and fast. Thirdly, they got all the injections and everything. Fourthly, they get them to the hospital. And lastly, they do tremendous work. The things that emergency care workers do and can do is amazing, because between the time the patient gets hurt, the time they get to the hospital, sometimes if there's no emergency care workers, it takes hours and even a day or two. And very many times they lose their lives. Now, high-tech startup, that means anybody with computers, internet, any of these high-tech startup. Anybody that's works with computers, IT, anything like that, solving computer problems, they get very excited. And lastly, the arts. Arts is all about creation, and that is why it is most of the famous painters, Van Gogh and very many artists and them were ADHD. So let's, what's your guys' thought on this? You can go through each one slowly, that why do they say it's such a good thing? So first of all, they're working, as a teacher, they're working directly with children, and these jobs rely on your sparkling ADHD personality. So if you're inattentive ADHD, you won't have a sparkling ADHD personality, and thoughtful, they're very thoughtful, the teachers, and the lessons and lectures should be very animated. So of course the ADHD would do that. And you must be able to think on your feet, and you have to be careful that you're not cruel, you're not mean to the children. So teaching is a good job, and there's holidays and there's extra work, and it's just not a 9 to 5 straight job. And from the daycare workers, they said, I love working with toddlers and preschoolers. They understand me. We jump from one project to the next, and they really know when I'm off task. So this is quite interesting. I was, as I said earlier, I was quite surprised that they said a journalist is one of the ideal jobs or the dream jobs for ADHD. So adults with ADHD working in journalism find their work exciting, creative, and rewarding, and they must roll with the day-to-day changes in their work settings and assignments, and they cover a wide range of topics, interacting with a variety of people and delivering a quick turnaround on assignments. But this is the one, these are the type of journalists that are outside, and I was picturing somebody sitting in an office and putting things together, which seems rather slow and boring. But anyway, we'll go it this way. This flexibility jives well with people who exhibit loads of energy, short attention span, low boredom threshold, and problems with sustained focus over hours or days. Hard deadlines, however, may be a challenge. So deadlines is a big challenge. So that's why you need, even if you're a journalist, you need a secretary who will remind you that you forgot to do things, and can she help you out? So from a copy editor, she said, my best job was in a busy newsroom as a copy editor. There was constant activity and fast deadlines. If I had 15 things to focus on at once, I was golden. So that's a good description. And food industry worker. So the food industry is what you see, what you taste, what you smell. So chefs, they're amazing the things you do. And if you go on to your TV program and see the chefs, what they do, how creative they are. And eventually they try different things that are not even in the recipe books, but it comes out right. So many adults with ADHD go into culinary arts because the work is creative. So creative is a very important part of ADHD and relatively unaffected by the ADHD deficits. Cooking requires you to focus on a task at hand and take immediate steps to create a finished product while not demanding long-range planning or lots of working memory. Unusual or flexible hours with sporadic ebb and flow pacing add just the right touch of excitement to keep you alert and focused on the job. So it is very challenging, demanding, but very gratifying when you do a good job. So finally, from a chef, he said, I left a corporate America job to join culinary school because that was my passion. People with ADHD aren't mentally inferior to anyone else. They are extremely creative. If you are able to manage it, understand what your strengths are, and not feel bad about your symptoms, it's not something horrible. So this is a 2-page article, and we'll give you guys, if you want it, you can just contact Tracy and she'll give it to you.
With pleasure.
Yeah. And number 4, beautician. Earlier I said hairstylists, manicurists, all these people, they're on their feet all day, they're creating things, they're doing different things. The customers are very happy and they tell their friends and they get more busy and there's a rapid turnover, there's minimal boredom. Okay. And this hairstylist said, being a hairstylist is the best job for this ADHD mama. I got a new client every 45 minutes and each person is so different. I can work 10 to 12 hours and feel like I haven't worked more than 3. So that's the job that we're all aiming for. That something is exciting, enjoyable, and at the end of it, you didn't even feel you were working. small business owner, we talked a little bit about it. I've always felt the way the brain thinks, there's a beauty in that. And if I'm able to look at the beauty in it, I can live my life the way I want to. So one of the entrepreneurs said, I got the feedback in my old job that I was good at starting things, but not finishing projects. So that is one of the diagnostic questions in the adult ASRR scale, starting things and not being able to finish it. So I got the feedback in my old job that I was good at starting things, but not finishing it. Being a self-employed grant writer is a way around that, because there are defined projects with a defined life to them. Okay, plus you're able to focus on what you're truly passionate about. Okay, Anita, you can read this and tell us this one because you're so passionate about it. Go tell us.
Emergency first responders. So that's paramedics, EMTs, police officers, firefighters. They work well under pressure and can make that split-second decision. It's also the variety. So different settings, you're on a different scene every time, and it's the adrenaline. So we like the excitement, we like the adrenaline. We also like to be heroes. So we like to save people. We've got that hero complex. So this lady says, I'm a nurse in surgery, which is good for my ADHD because it rolls with my fleeting attention, but has enough structure to keep me focused. So it's that interest and that variety and using that adrenaline, that hyper focus.
It's a high risk. So we get pushed into that and we just go for it and then we deal with it afterwards. So trauma counselors, going on to scene of that sort of thing is really good for us.
Okay, so Tracy, let me just put this in the right size and you do the next one and Sumaya will do, there's three. So Anita did the first one and we'll just make it a little bit smaller and bigger so you can see it clearly. So we don't want the art.
We want the
number 7.
High-tech startup. The understimulated frontal lobe of an adult with an ADHD gets jump-started in the overstimulated environment of the tech startup. Computer technicians rove throughout a company working with others to solve computer problems, while software engineers or developers generally work independently, creating and troubleshooting computer code for programs, websites, or apps. Both jobs provide ample opportunity to problem solve and harness the ADHD hyper-focus on small details. Words from a software developer: most software tasks only take a few weeks, which helps to prevent anonymity. As a software developer, the problems I deal with are diverse, interesting, and require constant hands-on thinking. Great for keeping an ADHD mind on track. Again, it's been stimulated. If we get bored, we procrastinate, we get into trouble. But this sort of thing keeps us completely stimulated, and the more stimulated we are, the better we are.
Yeah, we get Sumaya there. Is she there?
Yep,
she's there.
Last one.
The arts.
Yes, please.
Sure, extending my eyesight here. It should come as no surprise that adults with ADHD succeed when surrounded by other artists in fast-paced artistic environments. Whether it's as a TV producer, choreographer, concert pianist, adults with ADHD are happiest when their work allows them to express their artistic abilities. After all, there's no business like show business. I'm not ADHD, but that sounds good.
Class clowns. We're all class clowns.
Words from a theatrical stage manager. As a stage manager, it's up to me to facilitate every part of production, from meeting and rehearsals to performances. It gives me plenty to focus on, and no 2 days are the same. Plus, it helps the theater people, as some are some of kindness, kookiest people on the planet. I fit right in.
Yeah, Tracy, you can wrap it up. I know it's a bit small. I'll try to make it big. Can you see the last?
What if none of these jobs spark your interest? Don't get discouraged if your dreams and talents don't perfectly align. The world is paved with interesting side roads. For example, if you want to be a chef, but find that you're dangerously clumsy with knives. You might use your writing skills to make a career as a cookbook author or restaurant critic. Dr. Hallowell shares the story of a client with a natural talent for art and a passion for the environment. The dream was to become an environmental engineer, but after being rejected from all of her chosen engineering programs, she was forced to reevaluate. Eventually, she applied to an art institute where she was accepted and performed very well. She now uses her artistic talent to increase public awareness of environmental issues by designing and creating scale models of habitats. And matching up your abilities with your interests is what ultimately determines a successful career. You will succeed if you learn to work with what you have and recognize and accept yourself as who you are. No amount of money or prestige can lead to fulfillment or happiness without self-acceptance. Love yourself and it'll be easier to love what you do.
Okay, so Tracy, you can wrap it up for us. What do you make of all that?
So I really do believe in what we've learned through all of our coaching and processes and things. Find out what you love, find out what stimulates you, find out, because progress equals happiness. If you're not progressing, you're not going to be happy. Find something that you can learn and grow on a continuous basis. Do not be stuck in the same thing. And if it's the same job, then find something else in your environment, whether it's a hobby, whether it's different sporting things, whatever, but you need to progress. But important, like you always say, Dr. J, the two most important things for an ADHD person is that you need to be with a good partner and you need to be with a career that stimulates you. Focus on what you're good at. Whatever you're not good at, find somebody else to do. And if you find that, you'll be happy and content for the rest of your life. But you do need to be challenged and you do need to be stimulated and grow and learn all the time.
So how many of those people on the screen went into a career or just fell into there? What happened?
You all look as crazy as what we are.
Let's not compare ourselves to all of them.
Okay, we won't go further in that. So anyway, thank you very much. Tracy, I'll send you that article. If anybody wants it, they can get it from you.
Thank you, Dr. J.
Next month's talk is on relationships, where all our princesses will give a talk.
Thank you, Dr. Jeeva. It was good to see you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We really hope to have you back next week. Next month, second Wednesday of next month, 7 p.m., ADHD and relationships, which is going to be very interesting. And yeah, take care, God bless, and we'll see you then. Thank you, Dr. Jeeva. Thanks, Anita. Thanks, Samaya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Live with passion. Live with passion.
Stop recording.